And welcome back to another gameplay commentary. Today I'm going to be playing with the TWF Archer with a little spin on it. Cancer, Tesla. This is one of my favorite build concepts ever. Cancer Tesla's awesome. And then just standard TWF, honestly, except I went Moonpool over Yang here because I wanted more mana. I'm very mana hungry, as you'll see. And Dragon's Eye and Tenuto. And in this video, I plan on talking about the state of the warrior. So, we all know that warrior is widely considered the worst class. Spell warrior, at least. I mean, melee warrior is alright, but, you know, melee assassin, melee on other classes, is easily just as fine as melee warrior. Melee warrior is nothing special. It's just maybe a bit tankier. But, anyways, what mostly makes warrior a bad class is the state of its spells and the warrior item pool. So, I guess let's tackle item pool first, since I'm using cluster. So, one of the major things that's holding warrior back is the item pool. You know, test case, tidebinder. I mean, that's really the only water element spear warrior has, and it's terrible. You know, the low base is just, it's supposed to be defensive, but it's elemental defenses, and elemental defense tanks aren't even that good. And, well, in specific cases there, like Cybele, maybe you could do an elemental defense tank, but regardless, Tidebinder is just bad. Harwall and Bedruthen, I've never seen a really good build by that. I mean, I can't remember. I conflate the two. I don't remember any distinctive traits about them, but I know one of them has a low base, and the other is Earth Spell, and Earth Spell just doesn't have a ton of damage support in it. And honestly, the other spear options, as, imperfect as they might be, outshine those two options. So I guess for, like, actual good spell spears, like meta spell spears, I guess I'm not even going to include Ignition in this, because I'd say even Ignition is a good spell spear, but it's not used enough, and you mostly use it in tank and TWF, and, it's lifesteal, and I'll get to that aspect later when I talk about spells, but, alright, let's get, let's talk about Quincy first. Quincy is interesting, because, I don't like Quincy. It's used in cancel stack too, but as a spell spear, it's used as a spell spear mostly because it just has a high base. You know, it's a thunder weapon. But, compare Quincy to other class thunder weapons and stuff. Like, compare it to Cluster. Cluster, 3 mana steal and 700 lifesteal, along with tons of other, like, great stats, like stealing. And then on Quincy you have, like, negative 20% walk speed, and no life or mana sustain. Like, what the heck, Quincy? It's just damage. It's just damage, and it's not even that great. It's not even that great. But anyways, like, the problem with Quincy is also it's TWF, and that's spell steal almost exclusively, at least in 1.19, and warrior sucks at spell steal and mana steal. It doesn't do as good in spell steal or mana steal as in other archetypes. Okay, that's Quincy down. It's lacking compared to other options. Look at black. 4 mana steal on black? Like, come on. Give Quincy anything. Net 0 mana, nothing. It's just a high base weapon, and it has negative walk speed to boot. Alright. I guess if we're talking about high bases, let's talk about Breaker. Honestly, I really like Breaker. It's the only, like, I think it's fine the way it is. It's a gimmick item, and I mean, that makes it cool. You know, it can reach very high. Oh yeah, that's another thing about Quincy. It's no powder slots, which is just stupid. You're already taking a low sustain weapon. You're putting it in Thunder with the class that has the worst sustain issues, and you're not even gonna give it access to Chain Lightning. Like, come on, that's just stupid. It's just terrible. Okay, Breaker, actually cool. You can use it in Thunder. You can use it, for Thunder or for Water. So it's like one of the only usable EWF spears, and you can use it in TWF and stuff. But anyways, Breaker's cool because you can make it hit very high damage, even higher than Quincy in situational cases. But again, that's just about it. It has negative walk speed, net 0 mana. It just doesn't compare to other meta options. Like, even like, I would say Nepta, but Nepta gives mana. It's just, Breaker's cool. Then we have, let's see, The Forsaken. Okay, The Forsaken, probably the best warrior spear. Probably even the highest damage spear. And can do very scary things in EWA and TWA, especially with Virtuoso Abuse. But it has net 0 mana. And it's focusing you into hybrid. Like, by taking away your mana regen and putting it into mana steal. Like, what the heck? Warrior doesn't even do good in hybrid because it's close ranged. But I guess it's cool because damage and stuff, but like, again, compare it to something like Cluster or Black or like, even Event Horizon, which I guess, wait, why am I thinking Event Horizon? I guess there isn't really a comparable wand, is there? I don't know, I guess I just have Cluster and Black on my mind, but the point is, like, you're giving it net 0 mana, like, Warrior has precious few spears that give mana, like, at all, and you're going to give, like, the Forsaken is only good because it's competent. Like, it's a competent spear, and that's what makes it good, but, like, as far as it compares to other class items and stuff, it's not even that grand, it's just good by proxy, because the other options are not great, But, is that all the meta spears? Bedruthin and Harroll aren't even meta spears, really. And Quincy isn't even used that much. Really, what is Warrior Spell, But I think that's it for the 1.19 meta, I'm pretty sure. Infused Hive. Infused Hive exists, but who wants to spend a Master Hive slot, Infused Hive is pretty good, though. But, Undying, but Undying isn't spell. Warrior melee support is actually pretty strong, in my opinion. But, anyways, I guess that's my rant about the weapons and stuff. But you get items like, even Blur. Blur is really awesome. Like, 3 mana steal, high base, But with Warrior, you either have, like, good life sustain, bad base, or you have, mana sustain of some sort, but, like, no base whatsoever, so you can't actually use it for anything, or you have bad mana, or you just have options that don't compare to other classes. It just has a bad item pool. But you do have, you do have cool stuff like Breaker, even if it does have negative 2,000 health and negative walk speed, which are both terrible. I mean, but anyways. Let's see. Now, I guess for spells, warrior spells are another huge point of contention. So, warrior is kind of set up to be a melee-oriented class. You know, you have to get in close to do damage, uppercut, bash, or shortish ranged, and a lot of your spears are, I mean, trying to get you to use your melee. You know, I mean, look at the stats. You know, Forsaken wants you to lean mana steal. Quincy gives you raw melee. You know, but warrior items are wanting you to lean melee. The only problem is, like, spell warrior, melee sucks with, because, one, bash knocks things away, you know, and uppercut, you know, you have to upper cancel to actually melee and stuff, but also warrior doesn't have enough, like, I mean, I guess sustain options isn't a good argument, but, like, warrior being close to stuff will get you shredded, you know? It doesn't have things like archer, like archer has range, mage has range, assassin has vanish and blind. It has a blind effect. I mean, warrior doesn't have anything like that. And archer has arrow shield, shaman has aura lock. You know, every other class, like, it either has range or it has something on it that, like, can get it to not be hit by stuff as hard, you know? But warrior has none of those things. It has a higher class base, but it hardly makes up for the range of other classes, in my opinion, and does not let you use melee effectively. That's for sure. Oh, jeez. Good thing I brought 2 keys. Anyways, your damage, your tankiness and stuff is very low compared to other classes, just because you can't avoid damage, and then you have items that are wanting to lean you to use your melee, and it's not great, you know. So in that aspect, like when you're trying to melee on warrior to get mana steal or life steal, it's not a fun experience, and it's I mean, for me, it's not enjoyable, at least, and it doesn't function well. Really, what's better for you is mana regen and health regen. You know, I guess these are my opinions, but it's just you being forced to go into close range and not getting many damage mitigation opportunities and stuff just kind of puts you in a bad situation. And really, only one, like, competent build let me avoid that, and it was WFA the Forsaken. And even then, it couldn't really do mana steal well against the eye, at least not as well as other classes can. Like, it doesn't hold a candle to archer or even mage, but really, I guess, like, the problem is comparing warrior to other classes is just an unfair comparison, you know, because archer and assassin easily beat warrior in damage and in survivability, because they can dodge stuff, they can you know, they have ways to avoid damage, or, I mean, assassin can turn invisible, and then mage and shaman just have healing, you know. It's hard to kill mage and shaman, but with warrior, you're kind of stuck out in the cold with bad items and stuff. Granted, warrior's very fun for me at least, and upper canceling is a rewarding mechanic, and playing warrior is just satisfying to me. It's satisfying to me, at least. But I think, like, I guess one of the breaking points for me with warrior was when I realized that Morph, I could not make a build that competed with Morph. Is, like, when I had a point of contention. And okay, forget about armor powders. I don't care about armor. I'm a class builder. I don't care about armor powders. And forget about mythics, because mythics, don't worry about mythics. But if we exclude armor powders and stuff, Morph is actually a good choice for warrior. Like, look at Penguin. Penguin's eye solos with Morph warrior. I tried to replicate his eye times with a few different builds, very tanky builds, because that's actually what makes Morph good. It's tanky. Morph is actually not terrible for speedrunning. It just has low sustain, but most speedrun builds are very tanky to allow you to basically face tank the boss. But that's what makes Morph good. It's a face tank build. But anyways, my problem was I could not make a warrior build that competed with Morph, and it was really depressing to me, that realization. Even in 1.20, with Infernal Impulse and Rhythm of the Seasons, I could not make a build that rivaled Morph in its ability to speedrun bosses and stuff. Even in my 1.20 builds, using Infernal Impulse and stuff, it was just, I wasn't making builds that I thought were good, I guess, that could compete with other classes, Maybe this is my personal opinion, but it's just, to me that's annoying, not being able to compete with other classes in any way. But I guess I knew that when I signed up to play, when I picked warrior as my class. But there is some interesting things being added in 1.20 with warrior. Rhythm of the Seasons, Infernal Impulse. Those are cool. I don't know how meta they'll be, but they'll be cool, definitely. I know HPR nerfs are going to hit warrior hard, and intelligence nerfs, because, geez, we're getting, even with 9 mana uppers, hitting 139 intel is going to be a challenge, But 105 intel threshold for uppercut, very awesome change. It's going to, oh man, that's going to revolutionize warrior building, because hitting 114 mana or intelligence is just a pain. It's terrible. So that's going to be a great change for warrior. But Rhythm of the Seasons and Infernal Impulse, honestly, they're cool. Rhythm of the Seasons, I can't see myself using anymore, because it was nerfed pretty good. I think it's good for what it is. It's a tanky option now. It's not an end-all, be-all item anymore. It's not a ridiculous powerhouse of an item anymore. And I think it's pretty balanced. It's just, I'm not excited for it anymore. Infernal Impulse is going to be interesting, but if you build with it, you're not going to get great damage. It's just that kind of item. And it tries to lock you into spell steal, and that's annoying. Annoying to deal with in the -1 mana region. So Infernal Impulse isn't anything to write home about, in my opinion. But I guess that's just kind of my warrior rant and stuff. I'm sorry if that kind of went a little crazy, but those are my thoughts. Have a good one, y'all.